My Cal State Long Beach counselor saved my life, Sasha Kildare. Loser, loser, loser! The more depressed I became, the louder the voice inside my head became. How many times had I flunked out? I had begun my college career at 17 as a scholarship student to an elite East Coast college. But my freshman year had ended in a nightmare. At 29, it was my last chance to get a degree from Cal State Long Beach with a major in journalism, my 6th major. I had flunked the law of mass communication twice. Writing journalism articles, I aced. Memorizing case law, I choked. I had received medical accommodation to attempt the class one final time. PTSD, depression, and worse. 7 or 8 hospitalizations until the last one in New York actually helped me. I loved everything about Cal State Long Beach. Students of all ages and backgrounds, a music listening lounge, a student union that had a swimming pool, a bowling alley, pinball machines. Walking through the crowded Cal State Long Beach campus gave me the same charge as walking through my hometown of Manhattan. But by midterms, the campus was becoming a blur. I felt nothing, and I noticed nothing as I walked through the campus. Alex Rodriguez could have shown up next to me, and I would have yawned. Depression distorts your perceptions. The night of my law of mass communication midterm, I read the essay questions over and over, hoping the answers would miraculously come to me. As I sat in that hard plastic chair, I became lightheaded. My fate was floating away from me. I had no plan B. If I didn't get my bachelor's degree, I didn't know what to do. It was as if I were watching a TV screen that had turned to static. I had no job, no car, and no apartment to call my own. I could watch myself not existing. It was as if I were watching a TV screen that had turned into static. As if in a trance, I gathered my things together and I quietly exited the classroom. Just as I reached the exit to the building, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Startled, I turned around to see my 30-something professor. He had followed me out of the classroom. With the zeal of a missionary, he said, "You know this material, I've heard you in class. You can't let pressure get to you." He just kept encouraging me, but his words came through one by one, and as if from a distance. By the time I comprehended one word, I had missed the next one. "I studied a lot, but I can't remember anything. For tonight, just use bullets to list your key points," he replied. A few days later, I had an appointment with a campus counselor. The gray-haired counselor looked so alive. I barely had a pulse. His gentle voice reminded me of an elementary school teacher. I can still picture him. I felt pathetic as I tried to explain. "I study for hours every day, but nothing sticks." "You have been out of college for 3 years and it takes time. Academics is different than working." The counselor reviewed a typical day of mine with me. Then he paused and said, "Studying for hours on end is actually counterproductive for some. I think you've been overstudying." Overstudying? I had never heard of this. A faint scent of hope came into the room. He handed me some stapled together papers and began flipping through them and pointing to various diagrams. "Chunk out your time, schedule study sessions throughout the day, and then break your assignments into a list of tasks." His voice became more enthusiastic as he continued. "After each study session, take a break. Do laundry, run an errand, take a walk. Any kind of different activity, movement before your next study session." Although skeptical, I watched out, clutching his packet on time management and vowing to follow his advice because I trusted him. Walking to the grocery store, washing dishes, and organizing drawers broke up my study sessions. Forcing myself to study in the library for a chunk of time instead of the safety of my grandmother's living room helped too. It was weird. Crossing items off my list gave me a slight charge, And not sitting for such long periods of time and moving around more energized me and relaxed me at the same time. I felt forced while writing my short answers for the second midterm, but I endured the entire exam and received a good grade. The counselor system worked for me. I ended up graduating that semester. The time management and organizational skills he taught me gave me the confidence to go after a second bachelor's and a teaching credential. Those same skills enabled me to eventually publish a novel and write magazine articles on the side while working a full-time job and raising 2 children and also always getting enough sleep. I no longer panic when text starts to jumble, but instead accept that I have to take a break, move around, and keep crossing one item at a time off my list.